Thank you for joining me as we take a couple minutes to reflect on some teaching from this last weekend. We're making our way through the 7 churches in Revelation chapters 2 and 3. And this last weekend we talked about the church in Pergamum. And Pergamum was a church in compromise. Compromise is when we try to settle the disagreements that we have by mutual concessions. Sometimes compromise is good, but when it comes to compromising with God, it's a losing endeavor. God knows what's best for us. That's why He prescribes the Christian life for us. And compromise is always a losing endeavor when we try to compromise with Him. I just want to focus in on one thing that we talked about, and that is that compromise blurs my vision. Compromise always is focused on the short term. Just think about the areas of compromise that we have made in our culture. Think about the areas of compromise that you have made in your own personal life. Chances are, if you're like me, that when you've made those compromises, it's been with a short-term view. You might say, I want to cheat on my business ethics because it brings me more money, and after all, who's being harmed? Well, you are. You might say something like, well, God made me and He gave me the hormones that He's given me, and that's why I just have to indulge in sexual immorality. It's a short-term view. And that's one of the things that Christ was concerned with Pergamum, is that they not become short-sighted in their view of life. When we take a long-term view, that's what helps us to stand against compromise. I don't know where compromise might be at work in your life today. I don't know where you might be tempted to compromise on a day-by-day basis, but here's what I do know. Jesus wants us to overcome in areas of compromise. And the way that we do that is by living with a repentant heart, where we change our attitude toward that sin, toward that compromise, toward that particular area in life, and we say no to that compromise. We say yes to Jesus. It's going to be difficult. It was difficult for the first century Christians in Pergamum, but Jesus said, if you will overcome, I'll sustain you spiritually. I will sustain your life. I will provide for you. I will be what you are lacking. You don't need to compromise to try to make up the difference in your life. What a promise. What a God. And I trust that today you will stand strong against the temptation to compromise in your life.